in dealing with any situations in life, it could be for ourselves or for the external environment, there are four categories that we have to think about. And this thinking needs to be done rather quickly, because that really helps us decide how to behave and how to act in these situations. The first category is emergency. Is this an emergent situation? Is something that can be dangerous, something that can really harm the body, mind, or create a situation that can be very dangerous? That's the one part, and we all are aware of it. For example, natural calamities like hurricane, earthquake, huge snow blizzard storms, things of that nature. It could be fire, it could be earthquake, and so on and so forth. I mean, there are so many of them out there that can cause the situation, and that's the natural calamity. The other types are situations that can be social, for example. Social can be a person with a gun shooting rampage, just an example. Or sometimes there's a mob situation, fighting, a street fight that's going on, or something that is domestic fights, violences, things of that nature. These can be very dangerous, and these can really escalate into a harm that can be irreparable, including survival situations as well. So that's one type of setup. In this type of setup, most often the body responds very quickly, and it has to run away, fight, flight, or fight with the situation, or fright, getting afraid and then running away. Now, the second situation is called non-emergent. Non-emergent is okay, but there is still a potential of flare-up again. It can be control, or it can be also called as control emergency. Control emergency is one of the examples are very simple, that the hurricane has passed and done some more damage is possible. The winds are still blowing and things can happen. Earthquake, typically aftershock is an example. You can always expect something else that can happen. Building that is not stable can fall. Fights. In fight situation, this is very common, in fact, that person calms down initially, gets separated from fighting scenario, but the conflict is not resolved. Now that situation is also quite seen very often. It can happen in the office setting, it can happen in the family, and so on and so forth. So that's that situation. Then the last but not the least, if you have infection, or if you have disease situation, here is where we can control the disease from spreading further and getting us into trouble. However, it is a controlled emergency. It's not completely solved yet, so controlled. Then the next one is called elective. Elective is a situation where you do not have an emergency anymore. The factors that has caused the emergency are really controlled at this point. However, in order to solve the situation, we have to take some steps. And steps are such that we have to prevent a fight. We have to prevent, you cannot prevent natural calamities, but also build some, for example, earthquake shelters, or board up your homes in a proper way, get ready for it in a case of hurricane, so on and so forth. Same thing with social situation and relationships. You start building the relationship in a better way, develop an understanding, so that these things don't happen again. And the last situation is very simple. That's the resolution. A resolution is the calmness, is the balance between the two factors, and positive and negative, and also balance with any kind of scenario that can happen. Now, when we consider these four, it's always better to analyze where you are and how you are, and quickly categorize them to see where you stand. And then accordingly, your actions and decisions and and what you do with that will emerge.